I'm Alan Kinney, Editorial Director with REIT.com, and we're at the Wynn Las Vegas for REITWorld 2015, NAREIT's annual convention for all things REIT. I'm joined by Ed Walter, CEO of Host Hotels and Resorts. Ed, can you give us an idea of the factors driving the recent decision to institute a share buyback program?
Sure. I mean, it's really pretty simple. The reality is that because of some concerns about the top line in the lodging industry over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, stocks have traded off a lot. At this point, we and most of the other stocks in the lodging REIT sector are trading at pretty significant discounts to net asset value. So in an environment like this, while we're always looking for opportunities to grow the company, it's pretty clear that the best use of any spare capital we would have would be buying back our stock and trying to close that gap between where our stock is priced and what the assets that underlie that are worth.
And 2015 is almost over. Give us an idea, what should we be looking for in terms of big stories in the lodging industry next year?
I think the biggest story for 16 started on Monday when Marriott announced the acquisition of Starwood. So I think you have 2 of the top 3 players in the U.S. combining. It has ramifications for some of the other large brand operators to try to have some sense as to whether they should react to that and whether there should be additional acquisition activity. And then when you come back to the Marriott Starwood piece of it, that's a massive integration job that they're going to have to figure out. Marriott's done it before, so we have full confidence that they'll be able to do it again. But that's going to be a big part of the story in 2016.
Talk to us about a notable property in your portfolio, one that might have historical significance or maybe something that has affected the surrounding community.
We have a lot of great hotels in our portfolio, including some that are 100 years old in Europe. But if I were to try to think of one that's probably had the biggest impact on its environment, it's probably the New York Marriott Marquis. When that hotel was built in the early 80s, none of us would have wanted to be in Times Square after dark. And it was a huge bet by the company at that point in time. The single biggest hotel they had built, they funded it themselves. And that hotel was the start of transforming Times Square. To look at Times Square 30 years later and have that viewed as perhaps the preeminent retail location in the country, and to look at the vibrancy and the fact that now it's alive 24 hours a day and safe 24 hours a day. It's not all about the Marquis making that happen, but the Marquis was an incredible first step in that journey.
Thanks so much for your time, Ed.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Be sure to visit REIT.com for more from REITWorld 2015.